Even in the month of November, it's one of the best home court advantages in college basketball. The Neville Arena here on the campus of Auburn University. The 22nd-ranked Tigers getting ready to battle Jackson State from the SWAC. Good evening, everybody, and welcome alongside the former Tennessee Volunteer, Dane Bradshaw. I am Mike Morgan. Great to be with you on this Wednesday night. The Auburn Tigers, once again, great expectations, even with a new head coach. They got off to a great start overall, had a tough game against Houston, and the tough news that come out of that ball game. Keyshawn Hall, the SEC's leading scorer and rebounder, suffered a foot injury. He's out tonight. He's day-to-day. They hope to have him back soon. But, Dane, with that loss, a little more pressure on the one returning rotation guy from a year ago, Tahad Pettiford.
Yeah, they still have plenty of star power in Pettiford. The super sophomore is absolutely dynamic. He's explosive. He's the most exciting player on the court to watch. Yes, he has gotten off to a slow start shooting the basketball, learning how to play in a starring role as opposed to coming off the bench. But this kid is exciting to play. He's got plenty of star power to help carry this Auburn team, and they're extremely balanced. Ironically, it's not going to be so much about the guard play as it is the front court for Auburn, where they have a huge advantage down low against Jackson State.
Yeah, they certainly do on the glass as well. And Pettiford got off to a sluggish start. He had a good basketball game against Houston in a tough loss. As you look at the active non-conference home winning streaks, the number one streak in America resides right here on the Plains. 63 consecutive wins for Auburn, followed by Baylor, Texas Tech, and who knew the Akron Zips would make the top five in that category? The last time Auburn lost a game non-conference in this building, you got to go back to the old SEC Big 12 Challenge in 2016 against Oklahoma State. Auburn's schedule is about to get really brutal. A game against Houston, number one in the land, but when you talk about these games and the meaning of them, Dane Bradshaw, another chance for new coach Stephen Pearl to really find out what he has before they play a gauntlet of non-con opponents. Opening tip is controlled by Keyshawn Murphy, the former Mississippi State Bulldog, and we are underway here at Auburn, Alabama. Pettiford, the man we highlighted at the top, number 0 in white, flipping it over to Williams-Adams, and right away Jackson State goes zone. Whip it around into the corner, slashing. And the kick out back to Pettiford. The lefty fires a three, too strong. There's the first offensive rebound, and could be the first of many. Elijah Freeman. Overton. Back to Pettiford. It's a Jackson State team that comes in 0-3, but they have played a brutal schedule thus far. Three near the buzzer. And the rebound cleared by Jackson State. And Ebo Wilson, a 6'10 senior out of Ghana. Deshaun Ruffin, SEC fans might remember the name. He was a starting guard for the Ole Miss Rebel for 2 years before he transferred back to his home state and hometown.
Nice ball pressure on this end of the court for Auburn. Especially Freeman really blowing up that dribble handoff. Jackson State operating their offense almost in half court.
Here is Ruffin, the preseason SWAC player of the year. Crossover, drive, scoop, no dice. And the rebound into the hands of Overton. Overton in the starting five, the transfer from Texas Tech. Slam City from the baseline. Keyshawn Murphy gives the rim a workout, the former Mississippi State Bulldog.
Well, that all started when Jackson State hit the deck going for the offensive rebound. It created a 5-on-4, a little bit of a fast break opportunity.
Jump hook shot silences the crowd momentarily. That's Kobe Butler, the freshman out of Marrero, Louisiana.
And you'll see Jackson State in this 1-3-1 zone trying to slow Auburn down and make the Tigers shoot from deep.
Almost a walk, jumping up and not knowing what to do with it. It was Elijah Freeman.
Well, Freeman is a really explosive player. We've seen him on SportsCenter go down and throw one home, and that time he draws defenders, dishes it off for Murphy. But he's got to play a little bit smarter. We saw him just have a turnover early in the shot clock in that corner. The message from Coach Stephen Pearl to this Auburn team was, hey, this can't be a game where we come out and jack up a bunch of threes, especially early. Our advantage is on the rebounding side. So far, too many contests.
Jackson State will do a ton of that. They fire up 30 threes a game. The problem for Jackson State has been they only hit 29% of them, so not exactly efficient from behind the arc. You mentioned it's a 1-3-1, Dane. That's one way to break it. Find somebody open in the corner. That's Elijah Freeman.
Yeah, it's a balance as a player. You hear your coach saying, all right, I need to turn them down a little bit, but there are the open shots there as well against this zone.
A 5-5 game here in the early going. Auburn coming in 3-1 on the season. Again, the one loss, a 2-point loss to Houston on a neutral floor in Birmingham. Another turnover. Auburn with numbers. Freeman ahead. Slam! Another rim rattler for Keyshawn Murphy, the 6'10 senior.
Well, they talk about double teaming that ball screen. They call it a blitz. And man, was that a blitz by Murphy. The big man shows you his agility to get out there against the smaller guard, create the turnover.
What do you want to see out of this Auburn defense this year? We've seen so many great Auburn defenses under Bruce Pearl. What about under Stephen Pearl?
Yeah, I think they proved that they are tough enough, as they did against Houston, to say, hey, we could be as tough as last year's team defensively.
Pettiford probes the baseline. Great ball movement, sets up a wide open three. Murphy too strong. Top floor for the rebound is Evo Wilson.
I think with a really new team, though, Mike, this is an Auburn program that prides itself on adjusting their scouting report game in, game out to the opposing team's personnel. It's a lot to absorb. So a lot of it's going to be their focus, attention to detail. For several of these guys, this might be the most intense scouting reports they've ever had in their life.
Corner three. And it's going to be an over-the-back foul. Great box out by Sebastian Williams-Adams, who gets the start ahead of Keyshawn Hall today. There's Stephen Pearl. The man to my right knows him as well as anybody. A former teammate of Stephen Pearl's is one Dane Bradshaw.
And just being in the film room with him, so many similarities to him and Bruce Pearl. Different personalities, but the preparation, the passion, the attention to detail that I talked about earlier, and certainly the competitiveness. It really, when you watch a shoot-around in film, it's like the baton has been passed, and it's same old Auburn basketball, which is a good thing.
Great ball movement, sets up a wide open three, and there's Kevin Overton. Overton, who started his career at Drake, then Texas Tech last year, and on the season shooting 33% from downtown. All four Auburn field goals have come from an assist, very emblematic, I should say, of Bruce's teams over his 11 years running this program. Speaking of Bruce Pearl, he's in the building tonight. Still has an administrative role with the university that he put on the map basketball-wise. That was a steal. I don't think that pass was intended for Williams-Adams, but he pilfered it and then slammed it.
Sprinting right down the middle of the court, and this Auburn team is sharing the basketball extremely well early in this one.
That's the thing about coming to this building and playing against these Auburn teams over the years. They can take your breath away early on if you're not careful. Inside, rejected that time. That was the guy that Coach Pearl told us he really wants to see some progress from in the next few games. That's Filip Jovic, the 6'8 freshman out of Bosnia. And a nice shot by the diminutive Deshaun Ruffin, the former McDonald's All-American and Ole Miss Rebel.
Auburn wants to control the tempo, and they're running on misses, and great job rim running there by Williams-Adams, coming right down the lane. Too easy if you're Jackson State. Auburn making them pay.
In the South, it's not just the story that you tell, it's how you tell it.
This was more than a game. This was history.
SEC legends, all in one place. Let me tell you a story.
Seasons and what he was able to do. Dane, you and I were in Tennessee. We talked about 2018 when Rick Barnes won the SEC, how that got that program started. The same year, Bruce Pearl and Auburn won a half of the SEC, got that started, and after that it was on. 2 Final Fours, 2 SEC tournament titles, 3 SEC regular season championships. By the way, it doesn't include the COVID year where he had a squad here at Auburn. You could not have asked for a better job in 11 seasons here on the Plains.
He's a legend, and he's a program builder. You look what he did at Southern Indiana at the D2 level, Wisconsin, Milwaukee at the mid-major level, at Tennessee, a dormant program before he got there. But I don't think any of them are more impressive than what he did here at Auburn. I mean, you talk about building a program, a community that loves basketball, created one of the greatest home court advantages I mean, now that you mentioned him being in an administrative role here at Auburn, I wonder if he's turning in his sick days and making sure he's following the vacation schedule and all those things.
Filling out those TPS reports.
Right.
They can be pesky. Before he took over, Auburn had the longest NCAA tournament drought. You had to go back to 2003. And before you knew it, he turned it into a Final Four program. I mentioned Jackson State fires a ton of threes off. Dane, do you like the strategy for this matchup?
Yeah, I think it's what they have to do. I mean, it's a tough shot by McMillian there, but yeah, Jackson State is much better from three than two. They are top 5 in the country in terms of percentage of points they get from three. They don't shoot it great, but it's their only hope, being overmatched down low.
Auburn, speaking of down low, that is exactly where Jovic lives, the 6'8 freshman from Bosnia. He played in Serbia's top-tier basketball league, the same league that produced one Nikola Jokic. Inside, weaving and firing off the window and in is Williams Davis.
If you're Jackson State, you just got to be able to get this ball in bounds. It's a full court denial, but you got to be able to screen for one another or have roughing against really the other team's center, get himself open.
That's already 2 timeouts burned by Jackson State with 13:23 to go here in the first half. Jackson State, the head coach is a guy that should be very familiar to SEC fans. How about Mo Williams? Mo Williams was the SEC Freshman of the Year back in 2002. He played his high school ball. He was legendary back in his home state at Jackson, Mississippi. Goes to Alabama, wins an SEC championship as well. In fact, he was wearing the SEC championship ring today at shoot-around. It was not afraid to tell us, guys, I still hate Auburn, and I almost wore my Alabama gear to the campus today.
Yeah. He said that in his 2 years at Alabama, he said, we always got them at home, and they always got us at home.
Yes, they did. A steal off that pressure. Inside and getting out of the trees is Magwood, one of the talented freshmen out of Louisville, Kentucky. Jovic going to work down low. Pivot, fire, got it.
Really good game plan right now. Auburn pressing. There's another steal right there. Good. Jackson State just cannot handle this full court denial. This is Bruce Pearl program written all over it as Stephen Pearl takes the reins and continues to push tempo.
Absolutely suffocating and fierce ball pressure, a staple of Bruce's teams for the better part of 11 years. Inside, drive and kick. A runner, rims off. Offensive rebound to Wilson. No, tapped around, and here comes Auburn in transition.
They've got to keep feeding it inside. Resist the temptation to take these open threes. Well, unless you got an advantage there. Jab step, he's feeling it. I think he heard the bench behind him talk to him because he had some words to him. I think the bench paid him into it. He took it.
That is the former star of Division II Lincoln Memorial University. I think that's the first time I've ever uttered those words on an SEC network broadcast as McMillian silences the crowd and drops the mid-range.
Well, you can see why Jackson State is so excited about that sophomore. He's SWAC Freshman of the Year. Hadn't got off to a hot start shooting, but very capable and expecting big things in the SWAC.
Wow, what about that entry pass? Just a bullet down low, and drawing the foul is Williams Adams.
I think this is where the bench is saying, you're not going to make that. Don't take that. Self-check. He says, no, I think again, you got the wrong guy.
Life of a mid-major, it can be tough this time of year. You've got to take some money games in order to fund the program in many cases. That's the case for Jackson State. First 5 games of the year. How about Champaign, Illinois, Louisville, Kentucky, Ruston, Louisiana, Auburn, Alabama, and when they leave here, they'll head to Fayetteville. That's 4,190 miles, and as we talked about with Mo Williams today, that's not those cozy charters that you take no. in the NBA or for an SEC program. That's a lot of long bus rides, Dane.
It is, but I love it about Mo Williams. He doesn't see himself above that type of travel. It allows the players to recognize, hey, I got nothing to complain about. I'm just here to grind, play basketball, and get better. And what an opportunity to learn under the legend, Coach Mo Williams, who essentially he could have kept coaching at Alabama State or other places, but wanted to give back to his community in the Jackson, Mississippi area, where you get a lot of Jackson kids. And he was very open with us. Like, does he have aspirations to continue to climb the coaching ladder? Yes, but he felt like, look, I can give back to the community here, and it's a great opportunity to learn against these Power 4 type programs, what works, what doesn't work, and it prepares them for the SWAC. Although I'm sure he'd like to have a few games where they could build some confidence.
He did mention that. He said he wouldn't mind a breather here and there to get these young men a little confidence. He's got a lot of freshmen and sophomores on the roster. He told us he actually drove all the way to Champaign, Illinois in his own car, then to Louisville, and then to Ruston in his own car. Ruffin on the second attempt, no. Offensive rebound, a rare one for Jackson State, and then stepping on the baseline is Auburn.
Mike, that defense by Jovic just shows you the versatility of this Auburn Tiger defense. That is getting matched up against a 5'10", shifty, quick point guard in Ruffin, and just stays in front, contests, holds his own. They give up the backside rebound, something they got to work on. But that reminds you a little bit of what we've seen out of this Auburn defense, led by a defensive coordinator back then, Stephen Pearl.
Off the inbounds, pretty shot by McMillian, the SWAC freshman of the year a year ago, preseason all-SWAC this year.
Well, Stephen Pearl is furious. Nobody spends more time prepping for out-of-bounds sets underneath the basket than Auburn does. So to give up a basket, they're mad if you get it in, much less give up a bucket.
Yeah, they normally force timeouts in that situation better than anybody in the country. A sweeping, running layup that time by Jovic. Ruffin, the former McDonald's All-American. Three ball. Too strong, and the rebound to the Tigers of Jackson State. Auburn comes into this game one of the best rebounding margins in the SEC, plus 14.5. They have a major size advantage over Jackson State tonight. And a foul called on Jackson State with 10:03 to go in the first half. Yeah, we're still trying to figure out, Dan, we talked about this the other night in Knoxville, where some of these programs are, particularly with the turnover, right? I mean, it's the days of returning 3-4 starters. Those are pretty much over. Auburn lost a lot of key players, of course. Janai Broom, Chad Baker-Mazara, they were synonymous with Auburn basketball the last few years. So what are we looking at with Auburn?
Yeah, and I think the other thing, too, is the coaches can evaluate all summer. You can scrimmage against each other, do all that stuff. You can bring officials in. But you really don't get a true sense of what lineups play best together until you have a bigger sample size against all types of competition in the non-conference to where you can get your rhythm. And, of course, in today's world of analytics, the numbers start proving the theory as well to know who plays best with who. And this is an Auburn program that enjoys depth. They're going to continue to rotate guys. And so getting their rotations down is a big key to their success.
Inside of man one. Biggest play of the night thus far offensively comes from Jamie Mitchell, the junior guard out of Jackson.
Well, he's a big-time three-point shooter, so Auburn wants to keep him off the three-point line. A nice job by Mitchell, just backing down the smaller defender, getting himself an and one. That's something he's going to have to do more of, is attack the rim, be better from two because of his success from the three-point line for three and blue.
So a chance at three the hard way for Mitchell, averaging 13 points per game. And another offensive rebound, then stolen away. That's Mashalik. Mashalik is a guy that we talked about with Stephen Pearl today at shoot-around. Said he tears it up in practice. The problem is it hasn't been there in the game. Maybe tonight a great opportunity.
Yeah, and that type of intensity and effort, where I think Auburn's disappointed is that it became an offensive rebound opportunity in the first place for Jackson State. And Stephen Pearl's message to this team was, hey, prepare the same for Jackson State as you did for Houston. And I think right now he would like to see them dominating the glass more than they are, because it is 10-10 so far in this one.
Yeah, I didn't see that one coming. Still early. Jackson State staying in the zone and almost caused a turnover there. It's Kolev on the defense. There's that man. And Murphy got fouled over the back on the offensive rebound. Now, Auburn is routinely one of the better rebounding teams in the SEC. You see the margin, that's actually 18th in the country. Jackson State not so much. That stat is a little jaded, as they have played some juggernauts early on.
Yeah, they sure have, as Jackson State. But in terms of Auburn's game plan, that's it right there. I mean, they said, look, we got to crash on the offensive end, and we got to demand everything on the defensive side. I think one thing that's been to Jackson State's advantage in that area is they forced Auburn to take almost half their shots from three. So that leads to less inside rebound opportunities. I'm sure that'll be a message from Coach Pearl to his team to say, guys, get the ball inside. We're finishing well, and when we miss it, we're usually going to get the rebound anyway.
Right. Auburn peels back on the pressure as McMillian brings it into front court. And there's the steal. All the way. And missing the layup was Mashalik, but a whistle.
But that's all scouting report right there. I mean, that's a setup for Jackson State. They like to stack two guys right there at the free throw line, and Mashalik jumps that passing lane. I mean, that was anticipation, knowing exactly what the play was going to be. Gets the body, now got himself a chance to the free throw line. You know, with the long sleeve shirt, at least you know he doesn't get a strawberry on the elbow there. I mean, that's preparation, man.
You did that to hide the gun show, right? Mashalik is out of Dallas, Texas. Trinity Christian Academy, as you can probably hear from the student section behind us. He is a fan favorite. And again, Stephen Pearl says he absolutely dominates practice. Like, nobody wants any piece of 21 and white during practice. But now it's got to translate into games.
Yeah, and just seeing a free throw, seeing one go in gives you some confidence, get into a rhythm. He's already made a couple big plays and impacted the game.
Pressure broken. Butler goes inside. And coming away is Murphy. Ahead to Pettiford. Look out! Goes for the slam and had it blocked. 3 ball. Rims off. Murphy, the hoop and the harm. A chance at a 3-point play.
Nice spacing by Pettiford after the missed dunk. He's going to go up and try to jam this thing home with the right. And then eventually offensive rebound to Murphy. I mean, this guy's, he's a glue guy. I mean, 7 points, 3 boards quietly. He's had 1 turnover in this game, and that's the first of the entire season for him.
Tell you what else I like about getting Keyshawn Murphy is the free throw falls woefully short. And Jackson State, a big-time scrum. Murphy gets it back, and Murphy winds up with 2 more. What I was going to say about Murphy, you're talking about a guy that played in Chris Jan's system. For my money, one of the best coaches around. And he's got postseason experience every year he was there.
He does, and you know he's been extremely well coached, disciplined, tough. And I'm not sure he realized he was going to get a 4-point play on that last possession, but right place, right time.
Shot clock down to 5. McMillian, rise and fire off the right rim. Here comes Pettiford. Tahad Pettiford out of Jersey City. Last year, more of a roll off the bench. He was not the guy. This season, he needs to be the man that really stirs the drink for Auburn. Sets up teammate on a 3, and it's drilled by Williams Adams. That's his first 3 of the year.
Man, the confidence he's playing with as a freshman. He is unapologetic about his age. He's just coming in to demand a spot on this team, get big minutes. And to show you the versatility there from his inside-out game.
3-ball from Butler. Long rebound, fought for and corralled by Pettiford all the way. Euro fires off the window and in. Pretty play by Tahad Pettiford.
Well, he just showed you right there. There's not many guys that can make that sort of play in college basketball. But the balance, the skill set, the soft touch. Keyshawn Murphy, 9 points, 4 boards in this one. And as everybody scrambles for the loose ball, he's going to sit there and be like, y'all just tip it around for a minute, do your thing, and then let me know when it gets to me. I'll pad my stats a little bit.
Now there you look at Stephen Pearl, the newest head coach for the Auburn Tigers, former assistant under Bruce Pearl, and now the head man, and already showing a little bit of intensity after a great effort in a tough loss to Houston, but he told his team and he told the media that's not good enough.
I'm proud of my guys and the effort that they showed. We expected to win the game. Moral victories are for losers. So don't ask me a question about do I feel. No, I don't, because I told our guys that I thought we were the better team, and I have elite confidence in this group. But for us, it's about what we do from here. So take any questions from here.
Dane, I know you like the message.
I do. I think he also, in that same press conference, got somewhat defensive about the reputation that everybody was giving Houston, which they have earned. But he said, look, we're tough too. We rebound well too. We can get out and go too, as you see right there. And I think he's just handled the media so well in year one. And the closer you are to this program, the closer you are to Stephen Pearl, the more you'll realize just how much ball this guy knows. And he understands this system. He's grown up, literally grown up in this system. I saw it at Tennessee when he was redshirting as a walk-on. And that guy, he works for he's earned everything he's gotten, and he knows this system, and he's going to let guys get out and go just like that. I think this is a big thing, too, to watch under Stephen Pearl. That's an easy dunk right there for Freeman. But the joy, the passion, and the freedom that Auburn's players and Tennessee players and everybody else that Bruce Pearl's ever coached, how that continues. And you see it right now, the intensity that they play with, yet also the freedom that they have.
Well, Elijah Freeman has had the freedom to have highlight dunks already. That game against Houston, although it was a loss, he might have had the dunk of the year already in college basketball, where he basically posterized 2 Cougar defenders. He is a 6'8", wiry, spindly, bouncy, super freak athlete, and this is the dunk everybody was talking about on Sunday. Look out below.
No.
Yes, that was more than a SportsCenter Top 10 nominee. That was right there at the top. And Elijah Freeman goes over the top of a lot of defenders at 6'8". He's from West Palm Beach, Florida, but he played his college ball at Division II Lincoln Memorial University, which got me thinking, Dane. I like to go on a deep dive.
Yeah.
I installed the extra diving board, ready to do the triple Lindy. Best Division II players of all time. And you'd be surprised at the list. There are a lot of Hall of Famers. Now, I'm not saying Elijah Freeman is going to be a future Hall of Famer. I'm just telling you that some players do start off at the D2 level. Dennis Rodman, Ben Wallace, just to name a couple of. Scottie Pippen of Central Arkansas. Alley-oop. And an easy slam for O'Porum. The rim is getting a workout to our left.
I'm going to continue on your D2 conversation. I think you're going to see more and more success stories with guys like Freeman and D2 players making their way up, because there have been so many good high school players passed on and overlooked because you had the extra COVID year, the transfer portal. So many universities are taking older guys from transfers. Therefore, guys that would normally have D1 offers are having to go D2, prove themselves, and as they get older, as they show more film, you'll see more and more guys from the D2 level making a big-time impact.
Timeout called. Oh, no, we've got a cylinder violation call on Auburn. A little too close for comfort that time on the defense. By the way, I could have added George Gervin to that list, but he had started off playing for Jerry Tarkanian at some directional school in California before he did transfer to D1. But the Iceman did make he was on that list for a time as well.
D2 can claim him.
Yes, sir. Auburn trying to keep the defensive intensity up. They have not taken the foot off the gas in that department. Neither has this student section behind us. Pretty strong crowd for a Wednesday night 8 o'clock tip in November. Rebound corralled by Freeman. Freeman leading the break. Drive and kick. Here's the three on the way. And an oxygen ball fired up by Overton.
You see right there with Freeman, his ability to push in transition. They've got multiple ball handlers. It's not just trying to find Pettiford every time.
Mitchell rattles home a three, and Stephen Pearl's going to use this as a teaching moment, particularly for Emeka Oporum, who's feeling the wrath of Stephen Pearl out of that timeout.
You think he takes pride in defense?
Yes.
I mean, that's his baby. And they see right there that they just did not get the help and rotation back that they needed to. And also just bothering the ball handler, the pressure that they got to have. I think on that one, when the ball handler's coming off that screen, they want to blitz and really trap with that big guy, and that was just too much freedom to throw the pass. And there's a lot of respect for that player right there, Mitchell. Big-time three-point shooter.
Well, and obviously the scouting report tells you Jackson State is going to fire up a bunch from behind the arc. 33s a game. That's the game plan employed by that man, Mo Williams, the head coach in his third season, who was a pretty good three-point shooter in his own right, both at Alabama in the SEC and later on a 13-year NBA career highlighted by a championship in 2016 with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
As we continue through the season, drawing the parallels from dad and son, here's one similarity. Oporum, who just got yelled at, got ripped in that timeout. Bruce Pearl is always known for, hey, I'm going to get on you, but that doesn't mean I'm taking you out of the game and having you look over your shoulder after every mistake. Stephen Pearl does the same thing here.
Pettiford on the lay-in. A turnover turns into easy points for Auburn, a staple of Auburn basketball over the years. This frenetic pace is certainly what Auburn enjoys. Already 43 points with 4 minutes to go in the first half. Idea was there, but the execution not for Jackson State on the alley-oop.
So many empty possessions for Jackson State. 10 turnovers now.
Remember, Auburn is doing all of this without the SEC's leading scorer and rebounder, Keyshawn Hall, as Oporum, who just got yelled at, takes out some frustration on the rim.
You see how good Freeman can be. I mean, he may be on his way to a triple-double, 10, 5, and 4. Stephen Pearl talks about the highest ceiling on the team being Freeman. And you'll see him right here. Turns down a three. And he's going to get in the paint. Penetration kills. Get in there, play off 2 feet, draw 2 defenders, little no-look pass for an easy 2.
This is so dead.
Clear your calendar.
No-look pass for an easy 2.
This is so dead.
This is the playoff. 12 teams, one epic finish. This is the wild world of college football. The CFP begins December 19th.
We, as in, we are all in this together. Love for the game, the grace, and the grit.
And that may be the key to being great.
It, the believers, sides and scenes that make it all even better.
It's a gator, man. He's scaring me.
Here, this place, this moment.
Listen up, people.
And here, the home of the SEC.
3:26 to go. It has been all Auburn over Jackson State, 45-20 with Dane Bradshaw. I'm Mike Morgan here at the Neville Arena on a Wednesday night. Well, the SEC had great success last year, as you know, 14 out of 16 teams, an all-time record. Who knows how many bids there'll be this year. But if you're looking at style of play, all you have to do is watch Auburn tonight and some of the other teams. It's been fantastic action. If you like points, and I don't know who doesn't, number 1 in the country of any conference. Possessions per game, number 1. 3-point attempts per game, number 1. And I'll also add tied for first of any conference in college basketball offensive efficiency with 1.22 points per possession. Dane, that makes our job certainly a lot more enjoyable. You and I have been around this league going back a ways when it was not nearly as fast-paced and efficient. This league has always been known for great athleticism, but the skill, you and I have watched the skill absolutely reach another level.
Yeah, and the style of play, the adjustments coaches have made, because it's not necessarily like, hey, that's been the key to their success. Chris Jans is a guy at Mississippi State we talked about, usually used to think, hey, he's a 60 to 54 type coach. Right. And they've changed their style of play. Now he's winning 90 to 84.
Right.
When Dennis Gates at Missouri came to the league, it was them, high tempo three-point shooting, which was them, Alabama, maybe Auburn, not many others. You see a big block right there. But you see the rest of the league. Vanderbilt's putting up over 100, seems like every single night. So it does. It helps recruiting. It's the style of play that you're seeing in the NBA. And it's made its way here to the SEC.
And as you just pointed out, as Jovic is starting to heat up, a swat on one end, an and one on the other. The one guy that Stephen Pearl told us he'd really like to see step up his game here in the final non-con games of November. A young man out of Bosnia. But I think when you look at those numbers, and we all know that's exciting and it's great for offense, nobody would ever question the defensive intensity in this league. You mentioned Chris Jans. It's obviously a calling part of his, what they've done up defensively here at Auburn and so many other places. Florida doesn't win a national championship last year if Todd Golden doesn't recruit guys out of the portal that help them defensively and bottle up some of the best offenses in the country.
The amazing thing is teams are scoring at a high rate, shooting a lot of threes, and you would think that's finesse basketball. It is not. I mean, teams have loaded up in the front court. You see it here with Auburn, with guys like Murphy. Tennessee has a plethora of bigs. Florida has a stable of bigs. And so to still play that high tempo and have these bigs be so productive on the perimeter and still dominate the paint and the boards, it's really entertaining to watch.
Off the air ball on one end, tapped around, and winning that jump ball is Devin Ree, the 6'9" senior, but then a turnover on Jackson State. And right now Jackson State might be thinking that 2:15 to halftime can't come fast enough. I would imagine they might be a little bit gassed the way this game is going.
Yeah, Auburn wants to dictate tempo. They've been able to do that, turning Jackson State over. You see averaging 12 on the season, already 12 tonight. Auburn has so many great set plays. We'll see what they got here for the zone. They won't need one, just a pass and kick.
Too easy for Jackson State. That's Kevin Overton on the triple. He had 5 20-point games at Texas Tech, including a 20-point affair against Arizona in the Big 12 tournament. Rebound corralled by Overton. Pettiford finds a slashing Murphy, who hits the deck, and Auburn, the last thing they need is for that man to get injured. And playing shorthanded tonight without Keyshawn Hall with the foot injury. They hope to have him back shortly.
Well, the other thing that Auburn does well, and this is another thing that we've seen a staple of Bruce's teams over the years, they go to the free throw line a lot. And this year, they are averaging 32 free throws a game. That's #1 in the SEC, one of the highest marks in the country. Elijah Freeman last year at UCF made 199 free throws. So he lives at the free throw line. When he is back with this complement of players, you're going to see them at the charity stripe a bunch.
Yeah, and specifically who we just saw there, Hall on the bench, he'd already gone to the line 42 times, connecting on 39 of them. I mean, that is part of his game. He's very difficult to officiate because he uses his body so well. So that not only gets you to the free throw line, yeah, that's one part of it, but every coach in this league wants to get to the bonus early. Right. That loosens things up for your offense. It makes the defense more hesitant, the opponent. And that's just one of those game within the game concepts that should be an advantage for Auburn this year.
We got Magwood and Ruffin were roughing it up. Ruffin was just trying to get away from Magwood, but he was on him like a cheap suit. Caden Magwood is an important part of the equation this year. As you see the
think
tussle here.
Stephen was saying that really it was his guy, Magwood, that got pulled down here. That's a hook and hold. I mean, if they want to take a look at that. Too late now, but that's typically one that they could go to the monitor and see. It's a dangerous play to hook and hold.
Ruffin with only 3 points tonight. Now 4. Again, the preseason SWAC Player of the Year. 2 years at Ole Miss. And of course, Colonel Davis was the head coach then. He gets relieved of his duties. Ruffin transfers. And he's back in his home state of Mississippi. There's the fall. Right now, Keyshawn Murphy is just doing whatever he wants at will. 13 points and 5 rebounds for Murphy.
And it's starting to be too easy. If you're Mo Williams, you say, hey, guys, I know we're outmatched, but you still got to try to find a body, contest shots with a little bit greater sense of urgency right now.
McMillian. Offensive rebound, Jackson State. And Murphy clears it for Auburn. Under a minute to go in the first half. First half that's been dominated by the hometown Tigers. There's Mitchell. Up and under. Nice play. And a pretty play to get the bucket to go. Jamie Mitchell. Shot clock is off. Final 5 seconds. Overton with a heat check. Good if it goes. It does not. But most of the shots for Auburn did go in the first half. A 28-8 scoring run over the final 9:13 of the half. Domination here on the Plains thus far as we get you set for the halftime extravaganza, and we send it to the studio. For Jackson State, and with that sometimes comes adjustments. Dane, what do you like to see here from Jackson State that would be different for their chances of making a comeback?
Auburn showing some zone for the first time to switch it up. I'm betting Mo Williams and his staff didn't talk about zone looks at halftime, so it throws you off a little bit. But I think Jackson State, one thing, if I'm Coach Mo Williams, it's guys, I know we've traveled like crazy. We've gotten beat up left and right. But let's compete. I think they can put more bodies on people, close out with a little bit more intensity, and just try to compete and win this second half as best you can.
The guy up top, Deshaun Ruffin, the leading scorer, only had 4 points. That'd certainly be a guy that would need to step it up. He's retreating on defense here as Overton runs into him and draws the foul on Ruffin. Auburn had 3 runs of at least 10-0 in the first half. They've never lacked spurt ability here on the Plains over the last 11 years, and now into the Stephen Pearl era, you can expect more of the same.
And this is what I'm talking about for Jackson State. Control what you can control. All right, they collide, they miss it. Now they're talking to each other on the baseline.
Right.
Like forget what just happened. You got to get back, sprint back. And that's part of them having a young team, a new team, and learning on the road.
It was interesting, Mo Williams talking to us about these type of schedules that the mid-majors have to play with, the load up on the so-called money games against Power 4 competition. He said it's really a mixed bag of good and bad. The good is obviously you're not going to be afraid of anybody come conference time. Nice stick back there from the weak side by Kobe Butler. The bad is, from a confidence standpoint, if you take beating after beating after beating, it can wear on your guys.
Well, and you want to work on things that can give you confidence and see what play calls work against more like-minded competition.
Well, that worked. A great steal on a trap and then an easy breakaway slam for Mitchell.
I tell you, I like Mitchell. He's good from 3. He shows you athleticism there. He had a nice little pump fake step through earlier from the mid-range.
See that stretch of games. And his top 25 opponents all over the place. And, of course, the other thing that stands out, every game is on the road. I mean, they are like a traveling show, just living on buses and hotels.
Well, that's what they want to do against the talented Ruffin, is make him see bodies, corral him in the lane, and see if he can make a play out of it.
It's funny, we see a lot of players that put up great numbers and star at a mid-major conference and then go in the portal and wind up in a league like the SEC. Deshaun Ruffin's journey has been much different. A McDonald's All-American, a 2-year starter at Ole Miss, and now playing in the SWAC for Jackson State.
And you might not see as much of it here, but this is a guy that is projected to be SWAC Player of the Year. And he'll be putting up some big numbers. And all you're trying to do if you're Mo Williams is get better so you can win the league. Because it's a one-bid league, and then you're trying to put on that Cinderella slipper and have one of the big upsets that can happen in March.
They picked top 3 in the SWAC conference. Bethune-Cookman and Southern. Bethune-Cookman gave Auburn a heck of a run, an overtime game in this building a couple of weeks ago.
Sure did. Well, and you know, it's funny, it's always kind of perception. That's Stephen Pearl's first head coaching game. You start to say, all right, well, oh gosh, it shouldn't have been that close against Bethune-Cookman. And then you look over at Fayetteville last night, and Winthrop had Arkansas on the ropes, up 5 with the ball with about 50 seconds left and unable to pull off the upset. So sometimes it doesn't matter if you're a first-year coach or your 25th, 30th year coach. Hey, the game is very strange, and you might think you know your team going into it, and then you tip off, and anything can happen.
And one of the reasons why the SEC got 14 bids last year, obviously the big wins against other power conferences, the domination of the ACC, wins all over the place against elite competition. But what was lost in the shuffle, and what needs to be stressed again in November and December, because everybody plays these kind of games. Everybody does have their fair share of mid-major opponents. If you lose with these metrics in the net rankings, it can be crippling for teams and the overall conference ranking. The SEC avoided bad losses last year as much as they picked up big wins.
Yeah, that's a great point. You're exactly right. And the SEC is losing a few games here and there against quality competition here in the non-conference, but you're right. They have not had those crippling losses so far.
Ruffin hits the free throw to make it 57-30 here. Auburn Tigers trying to improve to 4-1. Their roughest stretch non-con is coming up as Overton sinks another 3, and Overton now with 11 points. 3 Auburn Tigers in double figures.
Good patience by Auburn. Against the zone, they want to get 3 or 4 passes before they look. Not really a set play on that one, just people in the right spots.
Tough pass for Ruffin to corral it. Tightrope the sideline right in front of the bench for Jackson State.
And Auburn knows Jackson State struggles from 2, so that's ball pressure. And if Jackson State gets inside, the percentages are low for them to finish anyway. Just not a strength for this Jackson State team.
Overton on the steal and then draws the foul on the other end. What an addition he can be this year for Auburn. A 6'5" guard / small forward, a guy that has valuable experience for Texas Tech a year ago in the Big 12. I mentioned the 5 career 20-point games. A former 3-star recruit from the state of Oklahoma City to be exact. Yeah. Anybody can get players in the portal at this level, but it's getting the right ones and the ones that fit your system. That is so key.
It is. I think Overton's a guy that he's a career 33% shooter from 3, and that's what he started at this year. I think in this system, the open looks that he'll get with the attention on Pettiford, Hall, the good passing from the bigs on the kickouts, I'd like to see him get up to that 35-40% range, and the way they get up tempo. And look, you shoot better in front of this home crowd. They give you a lot of energy and confidence.
Auburn bottling up everybody on the perimeter. Ruffin trying to shake and bake. Instead can't get a hold of the basketball. Has it on a return, a mismatch against the big and poked away. Williams-Adams on the steal, ahead to Freeman.
Well, whether it's Murphy or Williams-Adams, I mean, their ability to just guard another team's point guard is really impressive.
And then Mitchell splashes a three on the other end.
He's a fifth-year guy, and he still has 2 years, including this one and next year. So he is a really talented three-point shooter.
Yeah, he leads all Jackson State scorers with 16 now. Look out! Two-handed slam dunk and the foul by Jovic.
The fake pitch threw everybody off.
Bruce Pearl will chat with us when we come back. 15-4. The success of this Auburn program in about a 7-year stretch, 2 Final Fours, multiple SEC championships, multiple SEC tournament championships, and the man responsible for all that is the guy in the middle. Thank you very much. That is Bruce Pearl, getting the stat man some airtime there right in the middle of our shot. Thank you for that. Bruce, thank you so much for joining us. How the heck are you?
I'm good, Mike. It's great to see you. It's great to see Dane. And it's great to see Auburn playing Auburn basketball, playing hard and not playing down to the level of their competition. And a Wednesday night in Neville Arena is jumping. It's crazy.
I got to say this. We've talked about it during the broadcast. Dane and I remember what it was like doing games before you arrived at Auburn. I mean conference games.
Right.
A Wednesday night, 8 o'clock tip against a mid-major, we would have heard ourselves echoing in the building.
Yeah.
You created this where the students are so passionate about the game, and every game is sold out with great crowds. That was one of your first priorities, was it not, when you took the job?
Yeah, I mean, that's part of Auburn. No, they do it for all the sports, and you know, just got to connect with the students and connect with the fan base. But I think, you know, you watch the game and these kids are playing hard. The way they're looking at it right now, it would be a close game. They're guarding. They're trying to take advantage of every possession. I'm watching out and going, my God, is that Deshaun Ruffin?
Right?
It's like Ruffin committed to us when he was like a junior, and he's been like a few different teams. But I think they're taking it seriously. The coach is taking it seriously, and so the fans are taking it seriously.
So you've had the opportunity to coach your son.
Yeah.
You've had the opportunity to work with your son. Now you're having to watch him as a head coach. Everybody's talking about the tough transitions Stephen Pearl has. The tougher transitions for you. How's it going?
Oh man, it's been great. You know, it's funny, Dane. He's been more worried about me. Yeah. Like, Dad, how are you? Are you okay? Like, even through the whole transition where we're doing it, it was sweet. You know what, guys? 30 years as a head coach. You know, been in the game almost 48 years. And while I miss some things about it, I miss practice and I miss teaching, I really just felt like, you know, we had a really good run. And I was so glad that John Cohen recognized that this was not about me. This was about that staff over there. Because Steven's been here 11 years, and all those guys sitting on that bench, they've been here 7, 8, 9 years, same group. And so for John to recognize, hey, I want to keep this going.
Yeah.
The best way to keep this going is to keep the staff going.
And on paper, it might say 11 years. I was telling the audience, it's been 20 years. I mean, this kid, Steven, was at West High School as a senior in Knoxville. He's hanging out with us on the Tennessee team. He was knowing cutters, all these play calls as a senior in high school. I mean, he has been born and raised in this. I will say the biggest difference I've seen, I thought he was more prone to get a technical foul as an assistant coach. He's pretty reserved over there right now.
Well, he getting after pretty good. But the thing, the hardest thing to replace is yourself. In the sense that replacing me, not that big a deal. Mike Burgomaster's his offensive coordinator, and I relied on Mike a great deal. You know, Ira is an unbelievable player development guy, and they've got some other guys. They've got some other pieces on the bench. The question is, who's going to be the defensive coordinator? Right. Like who? I used to be able to turn, and when there's Burgo right there, and when we were, I mean, who do you want me to call to play for, Burgo? I mean, what do you want to do here? But he has nobody that can turn to on the bench and go, what was that defensively? Right. And I think where the game has really evolved is I think in basketball now we have coaches that now have real responsibilities like football, offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators, and I think it's making him in that transition to be a better head coach.
Bruce, one of the things I wanted to ask you, it's kind of funny. Your job at Auburn was really contiguous with the start of the SEC network in those days, and I remember those teams so well. And clearly it was, in a lot of ways, a rebuild. When was the moment that you sensed, okay, this thing is really turning around? We've got momentum right now.
That's a great question, Mike. This is not the answer you're expecting. But when Austin Wiley decided that he was going to come to where his parents had gone, Austin could have gone to North Carolina, Duke, anywhere in the country, but he committed to us. And that was the beginning of then getting the Jared Harpers and some of those other guys that could have maybe gone to some other places. And so it was the decision of a young man whose parents, his mom's up on the wall. You know, Vicky Orr's up on the wall, and his dad led the SEC in rebounding one year. That was the beginning. My third year. My third year, that team won 18 or 19 games. My fourth year, we won the SEC regular season championship. But that was what really kind of got it going.
Will Stephen Pearl be in love with diminutive point guards the way Bruce Pearl was for so many years?
I think with NIL now, it's going to be different. We used to take smaller guys, Mike, because we couldn't get bigger guys.
Right.
Everybody thought I loved little guys. It's just because we were never at places where we could get the biggest and the best players. So, but how about this? Okay, Stephen Pearl on Sunday coaches in his fourth game as a head coach. He's going up against a Hall of Famer in Kelvin Sampson, and he has a chance to do something historically that, like, has there ever been a coach in his fourth game to beat the number one team in the country? And he's really that this team is getting better, and it needs to, because the league may not be as good at the top as what we saw a year ago, but it's still going to be really competitive.
You'll like this. I asked Stephen earlier, I go, now that you're the head coach, what's something maybe you didn't appreciate about your dad's schedule and everything he was doing and just wearing that hat? And he goes, man, the schedule is a beast. We used to come into film, and he'd be like, hey, Stephen, catch me up on their personnel. I've only watched a half of this team. He's like, what have you been doing all day, Dad? Now I understand. I'm on the phone with donors. I'm going to fundraisers. I'm doing charity stuff. I'm doing speeches.
A lot of interviews.
Yeah,
but I tell you, y'all both.
He thought he was working hard.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Welcome.
Yeah.
He's earning his paycheck right now.
Yeah, he sure is.
What do you see from them? That's
take on all comers. That was the case with Bruce, and that's certainly going to be the case, Dane, with Stephen Pearl.
Yeah, and it's continued in the SEC. I mean, you're not going to see teams in the league now come Selection Sunday that are left out because of their strength of schedule.
Right.
And so it's been a collective effort and a staple for Bruce Pearl's team.
You heard Bruce Pearl talking about Murphy kind of playing on one leg right now, but one leg has been good enough for 15 points and 7 rebounds.
He's a really skilled big.
His frontline mate right now is Philip Jovic, and he's working on a career high. He's got 16 points, a new high water mark for him. Pull-up jumper off the mark, and there's a follow-up slam from the weak side for Kendrick Simmons. He's one of several homegrown products out of the state of Mississippi. Boonville, Mississippi is his hometown.
Jackson's taking Mitchell's in some 2-3 zones.
Baseline drive, a foul called. Every time Freeman gets ahead of steam, you're just ready for something exciting to happen.
And Coach Stephen Pearl told us before the game, he said, you know what, I'm probably hardest on Freeman than I am anybody else. I mean, I just get on him the most because I know his ceiling is so high and what he can be. He's just learning a little bit at this level. That time he takes off because he's going in to dunk it. But coaches always talk about play off 2 feet, be on balance. And he's got to learn to be selective on those opportunities, when he can get all the way to the rim and when to just make the simple play on the penetration.
Freeman is out of West Palm Beach, Florida, Wellington High School, and then wound up playing at a Division II school in Lincoln Memorial. That's in the state of Tennessee. He's come a long way from lighting it up against Carson Newman. Some full court pressure here from the Tigers. And the fan favorite is back in the game. That's Moshalik. Moshalik, number 21. Quick hands and quickly in the front court. Murphy tomahawks it down.
his ball pressure on the perimeter has really been evident in this game. Again, he puts ball pressure on your bigs. He puts ball pressure on your guards.
A season high 17 for Murphy. And again, he came from a program and a system in Starkville where they know how to play some pretty good defense as well.
They do. I heard Coach Chris Beard of Ole Miss say this a couple weeks ago about the underrated aspect of anticipation. He goes, our players got to learn to anticipate plays, and I think this Auburn team has great anticipation skills, as you see right there. Just getting the deflections, knowing where the ball is going to come off the rim. I mean, this team really seems to have a high IQ.
Little weave action up top. Displayed by Jackson State as Ruffin goes to work. He's got to be thinking he's seeing double. Drive and kick, sets up an open three, and then a foul from below. Mashalik cuts down the shooter, McMillian, and that'll be a three-point opportunity.
Boy, just lost his balance after the pump fake. Landed right under him. Glad it didn't hurt anybody's ankle, but Mashalik's going to try to recover. And instead, that's the easiest three-point foul call the officials will have all season.
Mashalik is that guy when you play him in a pickup game, like, man, why are you playing so hard against me, man? Can you just lay off for a second?
Yeah.
He doesn't know anything but high gear. McMillian at the free throw line, 10 points tonight, 2 rebounds. SWAC freshman of the year last season. He's out of Pascagoula, Mississippi. There's a legendary SEC quarterback from that town. Shane Matthews was his name, 2-time SEC player of the year. Of course, the head coach for Jackson State, former SEC freshman of the year, Mo Williams, played his basketball at Alabama. As Auburn tries to dissect the zone. 7 on the shot clock. Pass down low. Beautiful. And the career high for Jovic continues.
Yeah, that's a heck of a find by Bashir along the baseline. Right over the top of the defense. Threaded the needle.
$19 assists tonight for Auburn. And there's the hustle. Mashalik always going full speed ahead.
Well, and he would be a defender you typically think, was just not gambling, staying in front. But he anticipates. He jumps passing lane. Very opportunistic.
Auburn now has 10 dunks on the night.
There he is again.
Look at I mean, Mashalik is just everywhere.
And you typically, when you're guarding that, you want to stay attached to the defender or to the three-point shooter. He jumps the passing lane over the top.
There's not a whole lot of drama in a 38-point game, but these fans, every time he makes a play, it's like it's the last second of the Final Four.
But you know what? There's going to be a time this season where maybe the crowd isn't as into it. Let's see if we can get this one.
Oh, no! Raise the roof off of Neville Arena. Mashalik just hits from downtown. That might have been the loudest cheer of the night. And then an answer on the other end from McMillian. Murphy. Wheels, deals, too easy. Keyshawn Murphy, an absolute mismatch for anybody in Navy blue tonight. 19 points, 7 rebounds. And then the quick hands and a steal by Overton. 3-on-2. Mashalik saves it. There's Magwood, the freshman. Easy path to the basket and lays it in. They're hoping he can continue to grow game by game and give valuable minutes. Stephen Pearl telling us they need some of these young guards to step up and give them some depth. Well, that'll help. A steal and a slam. Freshman out of Louisville, Kentucky. The number 39 ranked recruit. Ruffin, tough shot. Ruffin. Great ball movement, sets up another open three, and they are right.
Yeah, they just have been and get a backdoor cut.
And that time he got called trying to belly
in practice. It's when it's the walkthrough and everybody else is going half speed. It's like, all right, you're annoying me. All right,
you wouldn't be sitting here next to me, that's for sure. Auburn's likely going to make it. Nice nifty move there.
I'll have to let them know that in my 8th grade middle school games, if you were continuing to press parents.
That shot you just saw was Keyshawn Hall.
It's that Houston game without him for the last few minutes, even though he stayed in to make those big free throws. But this was an Auburn.
College basketball the last couple of years.
Well, and toughness-wise, guys like Dylan Cardwell that bring energy and win every 50-50 ball. Your role, and you got a shot in the NBA.
And those are all Bruce Pearl recruits you see on your screen as in the SEC. A block. And a follow.
That kid's got some work ethic and originally committed to Florida. And a lot can change.
A lot could change. Went from Florida to Kentucky, of course. Full of SEC alums lighting it up here of late. He started his career at UNLV. Then he travels to George Mason. Because of winning postseason success, he wanted to take his talents to a program that John Hall, when he does come back and star for the Auburn Tigers. That's a McMillian. And there he is.
SEC, you're not going to see too much zone at all.
Yeah, very true. Ruffin on the dipsy-do. Nice move. Another three ball.
Oh.
Third one for
lead guy all of a sudden.
He was the number 2 player in the state of Alabama out of Huntsville. And this
Kevin played basketball at UCLA, so it's in the pipeline.
I'm watching other guys shoot well when you have it yourself.
Well, that's a great point. And I mean, if you want to nitpick, any part of Auburn's has been awfully strong this year. Williams with a heat check. My goodness. I remember the picture of that jalopy car you drove. Can we bring that out?
Yeah.
Drove. Can we bring that out?
Yeah.
Oh, no. A bank. Walker is 4 for 4. Oh no, not a 5th. Bang! He got it!
Gotta make the most of your opportunities. Walker certainly did.
100.